Hello, everyone. I think there are 2 people already in the live stream. Yeah, hi, I'm Sven Erik. I'm a screenwriter from Germany, and today I want to read screenplays with you to make the best out of this crisis right now. I think that we all can do much more, read more screenplays, because I know that you already want to write, you want to write your scripts. That's fine, but reading screenplays is something that's often overlooked, and this I want to change. Of course, there are many reasons for this. Some reasons are the rights are not often that easy. Sometimes you don't own the rights to the story, the production company owns it already, or you want to sell your script, so you don't want the whole world to read it right now. But for me, I'm reading parts of my script today. It's a bit different. I'm starting with my own work because I have it ready here. I haven't received so many scripts so far. But if you have a script, send it to me. If you want to share it, if you own the rights to it, send it and we can read it here and we will all benefit from it. So today I'm starting with my own script with Black Forest Witch, which is a fantasy series set in the Black Forest. And I want to read the beginning of the script, which we already turned into a teaser that you can already watch on YouTube. So I have it here, and if you have questions, just put them in the chat right here, and I will see what I can answer. And this video will later be online, so you can also go back and watch the whole thing back to back. And yeah, let's start. So when I read a script, when I open a script, all I have is the title page in front of me, the first thing I see. And on the title page, you have the title, you have the author, and you have sometimes a version number, a draft number, and you have the contact info of the writer, of the production company, whatever. And this is important information already because the title tells you a lot about the script. I was looking for a long time for the title for Black Forest Witch. It just came to me. I can't really tell you how it developed. It was suddenly there. I don't have a draft number in the script. I have the date when the script was finished. Hi there, Narakil. Good day to you. And yeah, let's just start with the first scene. I put scene numbers in there because this was already meant to be filmed. And the scene numbers are important for the production because sometimes you change scene numbers, you change the script in a way that people get confused and you need the numbers to know exactly what scene you're talking about. When you are writing a script that is a spec script, then you don't usually do the scene numbers in it. Okay, it starts with a teaser. Exterior, Black Forest night. The dark, mysterious forest right after sundown, in what we nowadays call Germany. Eternal stillness in the space between the trees. Tilt down to mossy rocks in the middle of a stream. Nature at peace, or so it seems. Splash! Bare and dirty feet landing in the stream. Heavy breathing. 3 kids are on the run. An 18-year-old Alemanni girl and 2 Franconian boys. The boys' clothes are worn down and way too large. The girl carries a glowing stick and leads the way. Deep moaning and screeching follows close behind. The girl keeps murmuring, "Make us fast, make us strong. Make us fast, make us strong. Make us fast, make us strong." New angle, the trees behind. Treetops move to the left and right. There's a monster in the woods, and it's out to get them. Back to the kids. A clearing in front of them. They can see the night sky and, in the distance, the glowing lights of civilization. The girl slows down. "He's coming closer. Why are we stopping, Lotte?" The second boy falls to the ground. He catches his breath, his eyes filled with tears. "I don't want to die." Lotte puts the staff down. It's covered in runes. "Don't worry, brother. Home isn't far away. Can't you see it?" "Go without me. I'll delay him." "By the gods, Lotte, what are you doing? We can't go without you. We need you." "I'm buying you more time. Now beat it." The first boy helps his brother to get up. But he's not convinced. His gaze pierces right through Lotte's soul. This isn't about us, is it? It's about getting even. The other boy is in shock. Yes, it is. It's about getting even. It's about payback. And let me tell you, he will pay for what he has done. He is going to pay for all eternity and beyond. They are all going to pay. Come on, Lotte. Come on, it's too late. Lotte can't be saved. Lotte moves the staff from the right to the left hand. It illuminates her determined face. Deep footsteps shake the ground, moving closer. The leaves rustle. Lotte stands tall, unflinching. Finally, for the first time in her life, she's ready to fight, ready to kill. End teaser. So this was the teaser scene that we shot. And I want to go over with you why I wrote it that way, what I thought about writing, what I thought when I wrote it, and what I wanted to express in that scene. So from the deep structure of the story to the more subtle things like the scene description. The whole teaser is a scene that happens later in the story, and it is kind of a flash forward to create tension, because in the rest of the script, in the story, we start slow. We build the story slowly. And the girl, starts as a very innocent farm girl, and she will end up as the evil witch from the fairy tales. So I needed to put the magic, I needed to put the danger and the supernatural right in front of the script. And I wanted to start with that so that you don't feel surprised later when it happens. That's the reasoning for why this scene exists. And especially like her using magic was very important to me to establish that this is a fantasy story. Very, very, very important to me, because often you have stories that start normal in like a drama setting, and then they become supernatural. And this can work, but I don't really like that. I want to know what I'm getting into early on. So when I wrote this, I wrote the dark, mysterious forest right after sundown in what we nowadays call Germany. I wanted to get the reference in early that this is the lands of Germany, but in the past where Germany didn't exist, because you can get this in early, but you can't really do much of these. You can't bring in many of these little moments of references, because they get you out of the story. They ruin the verisimilitude of the script, I think. Okay, so eternal stillness in a space between the trees. So it's a kind of idyllic place. This is repeated later in the scenes in the story when we have a kind of idyllic village. But this ideal place, this paradise, is completely shocked by the splashing feet in the water, in the stream, and the three kids are on the run. So we have an Alemanni girl and two Franconian boys. The Alemanni was a tribe, and the Franconians, they were also a tribe, or the Franks, you can also call them Franks. And I wanted to make it clear in that line that there's a difference between her and the two boys. I explained that the boy's clothes are worn down and way too large, and the girl has she carries a glowing stick and leads the way. So the glowing stick is also a magical item, which was also important to me, that not only did I want to have a kind of wizard staff there, but the wizard staff was supposed to glow from the early beginning, to make sure this is fantasy. We are not in a real world in that regard. We are in a fantasy story. Deep moaning and screeching follows close behind. The moaning and screeching, very interesting fact. I didn't really know what I wanted it to sound like when I wrote that. And I didn't know how to describe the sounds. So what my sound designer did was amazing. You can watch the teaser trailer. I put it in the description box right down there. And it's really a moaning and screeching. I can't really describe it in a different way. It's perfect. Then we have the scene, the girl keeps murmuring, make us fast, make us strong. This was supposed to be like a plead to the gods to make them faster and stronger. But we had to cut that out. You have to ask yourself, when you hear that, what do you actually see? And if you don't see actually the kids running, this doesn't really work. So if you see them running from the front, then you have to see their mouths, her mouth moving, and this looks strange from afar. So it would have to be like a close-up of her murmuring, or it had to be like a shot from up top or from behind and then them running. But it all didn't work when we were on set and when we tried to make this work. So we cut that line out. We recorded it, but it just didn't work that way. This is one aspect of turning a script to a film that can be disturbing for writers, especially because you saw the scenes in your mind, in your head, and you wanted to make them exactly like that. But then again, maybe I wasn't the right person to write that or to direct that in that regard, in that way. Okay, so then we have the shot, treetops move to the left and right. I really wanted to have the trees like doing like this motion, and we tried to do that practically, but it also didn't work, mainly because we didn't have the right place with the right trees, and to get them to move in a strong movement, it was difficult. So we just cut in a shot of the trees and had the sound design behind it, the moaning, the screeching, and I think it also works. You don't have to go big budget here to make this work. Okay, so we have the two boys. In the teaser, they don't have names yet. I did this because I didn't want to confuse the audience with 3 characters in a scene where you don't have to name them. So I called them Boy 1 and Boy 2. In the script for the pilot, for the whole pilot episode, I wrote down the names. They were called Hermann and Rudy. But here you don't really need that. Boy 1 and Boy 2 is much clearer for that. Okay, so they exchange glances, and through the glances you realize what's going on. And yeah, this was also very difficult when we shot it because there's a monster behind them and they are actually on the run. But when they are on the run, why do they have a dialogue scene on top of the mountain? So if you write that, keep in mind that the energy of the chase scene before should be visible in the dialogue scene. And I don't just mean the dialogue lines, but also the breaks, the action between the dialogue exchanges, like people looking behind, is there somebody here, and telling others, quick, we have to move, and you don't drag the scene out to make it slower, but you have to increase the pacing. You have to create the feeling of danger in the scene. And I didn't do that when I wrote it, and that turned out to be a problem when we shot it. This would have become apparent if we had done rehearsals, I guess, but We didn't have time to do rehearsals. We only were able to do one when we were up there. But beforehand, we were not able to do any. And yeah, that's just the way it goes when you have only a limited budget. But coming back to screenwriting, I think it's very important that you always remember what's the scene happening before, what's the scene happening after, and then making those impact what's going on. That's very important. Okay, so then I have a shot. Lotte moves the staff from the right to the left hand. And I wanted to do that. I included that so that the light from the staff illuminates her face. And I wrote down that her face is determined to really get down the emotion that she has in that moment. Deep footsteps shake the ground. Well, we don't have that either in the teaser. The ground is not really shaking. You can do that practically. You can do that later on with visual effects, but I think it's not as good if you do it with VFX later. It also comes down to budget. And then I have a line in there that is not that common, I think. Lotte stands tall, unflinching. Finally, for the first time in her life, she's ready to fight, ready to kill. This is something that is not usually in a script because it can't easily be acted out by an actor, or it can't be easily directed by a director. But I think that you can do that in a script, and you should sometimes do it in a script because in the end of a scene and also in the beginning maybe of a scene, you are allowed to kind of squeeze in those little moments to make it more poetic, to make it more like a novel in a way. And it's cheating a little bit, but I think it's okay if you do that. Maybe you have a different opinion. How many people do we have in the live stream? I think it's only 2 people. Only 2 people. But hey, it's for you guys. I'm doing this for you. If you have scripts that I can read in the live stream, send them to me. If you own the rights, if you want to share them with the world, do it. And we have the quarantine live now. We have the corona now. So we have to make the best of it, right? If you have any questions, put them in the chat box and I can answer those. About screenwriting, about filmmaking also. And yeah, I also want to share with you another scene. One scene that is not in the teaser. So this is like a boon for you. Okay, I don't have that in the download file, but you can listen and maybe we can talk about that as well. Scene 2, Act 1. Exterior Alemanni village day. The modest Alemanni village rests on top of a hill. It consists of 20 longhouses and is surrounded by a waist-high wooden wall. The villagers are concerned with daily business. They sew, carve tools, or care for their horses. Despite the meaningful work, the mood is dense. 2 pretty sisters face a sick and ugly old dog in front of a house. Both wear self-made farming gowns, held together by Celtic brooches, traditional clothing and very much middle class in this era. The dog growls at them. Ellen walks past her sister without turning. She's 19, lean and hungry, with perfect snow-white skin, but she doesn't care for beauty. This one longs for a place at the top of the social ladder. Erna, slightly younger and shorter, somewhat fragile, points a spear at the dog. Her hands are shivering. She usually does whatever Ellen tells her to do. Today, she hesitates. Ellen, this thing is eating away too much of our food. And for what? I can't kill it. She looks down. Don't be so weak. That's not our way. But it's totally helpless. Why can't we just let it be? It's a burden for us. Erna considers the possibility. We need the food for ourselves. We have to stay strong. There's nothing to spare. Doesn't it have the same right to be alive as we do? That right has to be earned during the good times. It cannot be simply given away for free during the bad. You are unfair. Life is unfair. Ellen takes the spear. She stabs the wounded creature. Erna is struck with pain. Scene 3. Alemanni Village Day continues. One of the village heroes, Blacksmith, a bull of a man, looks away from Ellen's deadly blow to the animal. Blacksmith turns to the leader of the village to show him around his property next door. Both men wear casual smock and breeches, but the leader stands apart with a knee-long gray cloak. There are 2 pigs grunting in the dirt behind the house. The feeding troughs are empty. Blacksmith. We sacrificed nearly all of our cattle. You see us starving here. It's about time. I'm telling you, the gods want us to go to war again. What if it's the will of the gods that we continue our suffering? What if they want us to trust their eternal wisdom? Blacksmith is puzzled. You see, there's always more than one way to tell a story. Blacksmith wants to turn away, but don't misunderstand me. I hear you, my dear friend, and I get your hunger for battle. But by this time tomorrow, if our fate has not changed, you may have your wish come true. We will call to arms, and I will be right there with you, saving our families. Suddenly, there's an uproar among the villagers. A noble but very old farm horse steps into the village. It brings in a carrier full of rye. On top of the rye sits red-haired Lotte with a headscarf and a big smile. Lotte is a small girl with delicate features, attractive in a flawed but very accessible way. There's a strength underneath her ordinary appearance that she doesn't realize yet. Father Randolph steers the vehicle as they move through the crowd. I tried to get my computer screen into the feed, but it's not possible the way I'm streaming right now. I can't just do that with the camera. I need screenwriting. I need Livestream software for that. I will look into that, but right now it's not possible. I can only stream what I have on screen right now, on the camera right now. So consider this just a boon for this video, because I don't want the whole script on the website right now. Not before we shot it and showed it to the world. Where was I? Okay, so the Randolph steers the vehicle into the village. The leader sighs in relief. About time. 6 farmers with sickles and scythes shuffle left and right with the carrier. They feel wiped out but content. The villagers leave their workstations. People cry out in joy and delight. They hug each other. It's the biggest harvest they have ever seen. Children are jumping up and down behind the carrier. In one corner, the pretty sisters who killed the dog clean the area in front of their house with a broom and a bowl of water. A bowl of water? The sisters exchange a glance. OBS Studio. Is it good? Is it free? I will try that. Because I wanted to get my screen into the feed as well. And I wanted to get other people to join me to talk, to make this a dialogue. Because reading your comments and then just talking myself is a bit lonely. It makes me feel lonelier than before. I hope you don't feel lonely. I hope you feel a kind of relief that someone is reading scripts with you right now. Because I love reading scripts. I love writing scripts. I loved writing this. It's my passion piece. Okay, cool. I will look into OBS Studio. Thank you. So just until this point, what did I do here? What did I create here? We had the flash forward with the teaser, and now we are in an Alemanni village, in a tribal village thousands of years ago in Germany. And this village is with several longhouses. I tried to explain the world I try to explain the mindset of the people there. So the world is a poor one. People are middle class. Some people are middle class. Some people are very low class. And there is hunger there. People are starving. Even the middle class people are starving. The girls, the pretty girls, they kill a dog because the dog eats away all the food. And the villagers, they sacrifice their cattle because the harvest was bad. You see, back in those days, the harvest of grains was much more important than the cattle, even though that the cattle are a very important food source and a source for milk and stuff like that. And I wanted it to be a bit fairy tale-like in that way, to show the poverty. And I also wanted to show how the hero is introduced. And she's introduced sitting on top of the harvest, coming into town, coming into the village. And it's a very beautiful harvest. It's a huge harvest, the biggest harvest that people there have ever seen. And Lotte, this girl, she's the hero here. She's like the golden child, the child of fortune for this village, which is a trope of fairy tales as well. But I'm not using it in a way of a trope. I'm just using it in a way that it's in the story. It's coming out from the story. That's a difference between a cliche and a trope and something that you allude to. Because cliche comes from a French word of what was it called? It's the color, I think, of a printing press or something, and that means you only have the color that is left, but the source is not there. Which is much thicker, which has much more content. And cliche is something that is only a slight image of something, a copy of a copy. And you can make something deeper by adding your story, by adding your character. So if you have, for example, a scientist, a pretty scientist, beautiful, intelligent scientist, that's a trope, that's a cliche. But if she has a character, if she is maybe a believer, she goes to church every Sunday with her family, with her mom and dad, she's a brilliant scientist, but she's lonely, she doesn't have a partner, and then you add stuff, you add your character, then it becomes less of a cliche. That's what I try to do there. So, yes. And I introduced the pretty sisters. I introduced the villains of the story, obviously. And I didn't name them here. I named them the pretty sisters. This I did because often in a script you are confused with too many names. Just like in the beginning, I called them Boy 1 and Boy 2, even though they appear later again. I just add a line in the script later. These are the pretty sisters from before. Just like I added the line in one corner, the pretty sisters who killed the dog in brackets, clean the area in front of their house. So you have the connection. You can do this throughout your script. You can always add those little bits that you remember the audience, you remember the reader, what's going on. And I'm not sure where I learned this. I think I learned it from Shane Black from the Lethal Weapon scripts, because he's an awesome writer. He wrote stuff into those scripts that is amazing. It just allusions to the real world, and in comedy it's much more believable and it's less distracting. Okay, so do you have questions? Do you want to know something about screenwriting, about the script I'm showing you here? I know that when I'm not prepared, my English sucks sometimes. Please forgive me. If you don't have questions, we can do this another time. Send me your script. Send me a message if you have a script that you want to get read, and we can do this another time. I have to wait a bit because the live stream has a lag of, I think, 20 seconds. Okay. So thank you very much for attending, and I wish you a great writing day. I know I'm writing now. Okay, we can do this. We can do this. Narakil, we can do this. I wish you a great writing day. I wish you a great day. Make the best out of the crisis and read more scripts. See you next time.